Hi, this video is for parents and students here at New Palestine Junior High School who are planning on participating in athletics this year. My name is Chris Yount. I'm the athletic director here at NPJH. And I'm going to go through a few important things with you that will hopefully help us have a wonderful, good experience at New Palestine Junior High School this sports season. The first information you're going to see I wanted to share with you is my email address, my contact information. If you have questions, concerns throughout the school year, please don't hesitate to reach out. The other name on the screen there is Mrs. Strong, our athletic secretary, and you'll be seeing constant communication from both of us throughout the school year come home as far as fees and forms and tryout information being pushed out to you as parents and your students as well. So you'll become pretty familiar with both our names if your student is participating in athletics this season. The best way to stay in touch with us is through our social media feeds. We have several of those that we update regularly. Twitter, we post a lot of pictures on. Facebook page, we do information about tryouts. We also post pictures on there as well of our games and in action. But then our website is where we post most of our schedules and updates and things like that. We have a section on there on the main page for our athletic sponsors and other important information as the year goes along. Also to the right of the screen, you can click on it and it'll take you to a certain sport. So it has our coaches listed on there and it'll have our tryout information, practice information as well once we get rolling with some different sports. The bottom link there, eventlink.com. If you create an account on EventLink, the nice thing there is that you are able to view our schedules for all our sports. So you can sign up. You don't have to view all the sports if you don't want to. You can sign up and view whichever one your student is participating in. And then you can also sign up to get updates if something changes or is canceled so that you can be in constant touch there with the schedule. I wanted to go over junior high athletics. For some of you, this is your first experience with junior high athletics. You're more familiar probably with the different youth leagues, outstanding youth leagues that we have in the area. But there are some differences between the youth league programs and junior high sports kind of leading into high school sports. One of those is we have several sports that do make cuts. So everyone who tries out for the team necessarily won't make it, depending on how many people that we have try out. And that isn't something that's new for some of you as parents. Some of you as players aren't used to that. Playing time may not be equal for everyone who's on the team. And again, that's something that is kind of a hard reality for some of you. So just be aware of that. We also have several no-cut sports that we call them throughout the year. So for instance, in the fall, football, football, tennis, and cross country are three that we offer and that's a great opportunity for someone maybe who hasn't played that sport before. They're interested in playing tennis, but they haven't played before. And so without the fear of, I don't want to try out and get cut. So we do like to offer several of those each school year to give lots of people opportunity to participate. And maybe they'll find, something that they're passionate about. Our goals: develop high character athletes who excel in the classroom and on the field. So on the field, yes, winning is important. We do want to win. However, we are also getting these kids ready for the next level, moving up to high school, being a part of the system. We find that we do value that on the field. And in the classroom, we expect that our students are high character kids in the classroom. So our teachers get a list of who the athletes are for each team. And if there's an issue with grades, not turning in assignments, behavior, those teachers can come to our coaches, and we can talk to our players and find out what's going on. And so we find that that's really beneficial for our teachers to have that list and keep in constant contact. So we want the best out of our athletes. We want them to be model citizens, lead in the classroom and on the field as well. So this summer, since the pandemic has started, I've been in meetings every week with other athletic directors around the state. And one big topic that comes up is safety. So safety for our players, safety for our fans, safety for our coaches, and how can we keep them as safe as possible while moving forward with a fall season. So some things that we're doing that if your athlete has already started some summer trainings that you may notice, we're doing hand sanitizer, we are cleaning equipment, we are wearing masks, we are socially distancing, keeping our players in groups so we don't have all 40 players together at one time. We're trying to keep them separated and do our part. And part of that is we're relying on parents and students to be honest about how they're feeling. If they're not feeling well, we want you to stay home. We want you to be honest when you're filling out the daily COVID screening. And then that way we try to limit, if someone does get sick, we're trying to limit who they come in contact with. So for fan safety, some things that you might notice as you come to our games, we might be requiring you to wear masks. We are trying to keep you socially distanced. We're having a limited concession stand. Some things that we want you there, we want you to be a part of the games once we get those started on August 18th, but we also have to do it in a responsible way. So ticketing procedure right now, we are strictly cash to get into our games. We're exploring some other opportunities and ideas, but right now we're doing just cash to get in. So something else that's extremely important to us here is our athletic sponsors. We have had several companies, fortunately for us, who have stuck with us during the pandemic and are going to come back and sponsor us again. And this is a great way, one of our two major ways that we raise money for our athletes for things like uniforms and equipment is through our corporate sponsors and then our ticket sales. And so this could be something where it's a family who is contributing. It could also be a corporate sponsor. So if you're interested in that, certainly reach out, let us know. But 100% of that money goes to our athletes to fund things, like I said, like equipment and things like uniforms as well. So some questions that I've been asked several times that I want to touch on real quick is the first one is, can my child stay after school? So if your student is participating in a sport that's practicing directly after school, then yes, they will stay after. And we have different areas around the building that those teams are meeting at right after school, so we don't send everyone in to change at the same time. And so your coach will be in touch with you there as far as where your team is meeting at right after school. If your practice time isn't until, let's say, 4:30, then no, your son or daughter is going to go home after school and then come back to practice at that time. Where will they keep their equipment or clothes throughout the school day? During a typical year, we have the benefit of having our regular school lockers where a lot of our athletes will put their bag of clothes that they want to change into after school. We don't have the luxury of having that this year, so we've designated a few spots around the building where they're going to put their bag of clothes or their tennis racket, things that, and we feel like those areas are secure. We're asking you not to put valuables in those bags, but your coach will be in touch with you as far as where your specific sport is to meet after school, if they're practicing right after school, and then where they're putting their bag of equipment. And if you're not practicing right after school, let's say you're at 4:30, then you don't need to bring your bag of equipment or clothes to change into, since you'll be going home after school and coming back. Something else we've gotten a few questions about: can virtual students participate? They are allowed to participate as long as they are taking our NPJH virtual program here. Are there fees for participation? There are a couple different fees that are due by the first game of the year. $40 participation fee and $40 transportation fee. Mrs. Strong will be in touch with them. She does a great job of communicating with our athletes if they're still missing paperwork or missing fees. And those fees are just for one time a year. So if you play 3 sports or 2 sports, you don't have to pay each sports season. It's just one time during your first sport. So Mrs. Strong will be in touch with you on that. What does it cost to enter a game? Most of our events are $4 for tickets. If it's a county or a conference tournament, then it will be $5. And not all of our sports have a charge to get in. So for instance, in the fall, we have tennis, cross country, and golf, girls golf, who do not charge an entry fee for that. How do we find out when signups are? So a few different ways. The first way is through our weekly newsletter. We'll post that. We also do it on our social media feeds, and then on our daily announcements as well. One thing that we've kind of changed during this pandemic is we've gone away from the paper and pencil signups, and we're now doing a Google form electronic signups. And so one benefit of that is it allows our coaches to start that direct communication with you and your son or daughter, whoever's planning on playing that sport. And so look for those links. We'll post those links on our website, on our Facebook page, directing you to go ahead and sign up and then start that communication process from our coaches to you about tryouts and practice times. Another question, what paperwork is required to play? So before your first practice or tryout, we're having our students pick up something what's called a practice pass. And what that does is it allows our coaches not to have to worry about, does the student have a physical? Do they have their forms turned in? It takes that off of the coaches. And the two things that are required before practice to get your practice pass would be an IHSA physical, which dated 4/1/19 or later on an IHSA form. And then the second piece is an IHSA questionnaire. That questionnaire can be found on Rank 1. If you're an incoming 7th grader, you'll need to email Mrs. Strong to get your Rank 1 number that you will keep all the way through high school. But this is the first time that you've needed it, so Mrs. Strong will help you out with that. But to get the practice pass, you have to come see us, and we've seen over 250 parents already of fall athletes and met with them to give them their practice pass. So if your son or daughter has already been practicing for a fall sport, you've already had that practice pass, then you're good for the fall sport, and then we'll readdress it if they decide to play a winter or a spring sport, and we'll give them a practice pass for that as well that they'll turn into their coach. Now, before the first game, there are several other forms on Rank 1 that you'll need to complete. So Mrs. Strong does a great job, like I said, of being in touch with you on that to get on Rank 1 and to start filling out those forms and pay your fee as well. So some final thoughts here. We are very excited to have a fall season, especially since our spring season last year didn't happen, unfortunately. So we're excited. We're going to do everything we can that we talked about earlier about social distancing and masks and cleaning our equipment and hand sanitizing. And so we're asking for your help as well and your students' help in doing that as well, just so we can have a complete fall sports season. We're very excited about that possibility. Go Dragons.